Welcome to the show. We've got an interesting episode in this one. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you're the first to be notified whenever we drop a new gem. And hit the like so we know what you appreciate and we can continue to bring you more of that. Having a recent conversation with a PR colleague in the CPG industry, so think Procter and Gamble and the sorts. We started to talk about, when people do spring cleaning or get ready for the summer, they often go through their spice rack or their pantry and try to figure out what to throw away. But there are foods that have not really expiry or expiration dates anymore. It's mostly best before dates. So that's more leaning towards the manufacturer saying, well, the flavor or the taste is better before this date, not necessarily it's bad to eat and throw it away. So let's look at the 6 foods that never expire, that you never need to throw away. Let's dive right in. Vanilla extract. Pure vanilla extract can be a grocery store splurge. But if your oven is known for taking a hiatus between bursts of baking, it could be worth the extra cost. That's because real vanilla extract doesn't spoil thanks to its high alcohol content. Over time, it can actually develop a deeper flavor. Imitation vanilla extract, however, has a drastically shorter shelf life, while real vanilla is created by soaking vanilla beans in alcohol, which acts as a preservative. So the flavoring dupe is made from vanillin, a manufactured substance that replicates a sweet and syrupy flavor. So on the shelf, imitation vanilla lasts just maybe 6 to 12 months before beginning to degrade and losing its flavor. Good to know. I don't think I've actually used that before. So, as I mentioned, it's easy to lose track of items in the back of a dark pantry, which is, as I mentioned, why expiration dates can be so helpful in determining when to toss old foods. However, as I said, the best by dates we rely on aren't always a true picture of how long a food is shelf stable. So food dating is mostly a voluntary sort of process for grocery manufacturers who often just estimate when their product will no longer be at their best quality, as I said. But luckily, we'll continue to look at other foods that are safe to keep using even if their expiration date is long past. Vinegar. Most foods produce a noxious smell when they've spoiled, but vinegar always smells pretty potent. So it may be hard to use the old-fashioned sniff test to guess at its quality. Luckily, you don't have to since vinegar doesn't expire. Vinegar is a fermented product created when yeast consume sugars or starches to create alcohol. That byproduct is then exposed to oxygen and a bacteria called Acetobacter, which continues fermenting to create the final acidic product. That acidity actually makes vinegar self-preserving, which is why it generally doesn't need to be refrigerated. Over time, vinegar can become hazy or develop sediment, particularly a gelatinous substance called mother. Though that doesn't mean you need to toss it. In fact, vinegar mothers, aka a colony of healthy bacteria that forms in fermented liquids, can even be used to create a new batch of the multi-purpose solution. White rice. Comedian Mitch Hedberg once joked that rice is the perfect meal if you're really hungry and want to eat 2,000 of something. It's also great food for long-term storage. White rice, which starts as brown rice but is milled to remove its exterior husk, bran, and germ, keeps best so as it's properly stored away from moisture and pets. At temperatures under 40 degrees Fahrenheit, white rice's lifespan pushes upwards of 25 to 30 years. But even when stored at warmer temperatures, it can last up to 10 years if packed with oxygen absorbers. However, not all rice keeps long term. Open bags should be used within 2 years, and brown rice lasts about 6 months at room temperature storage because of its naturally occurring oils, which can go rancid. So keep that in mind. Sugar. Sugar has a particularly sweet characteristic. It doesn't really go bad. Granulated sugars, along with some syrups like corn syrup, are so inhospitable for bacteria. They're often the primary ingredient used to preserve jellies, jams, and canned fruits. However, like all long-stored pantry staples, helping sugar maintain a long shelf life means keeping it away from any source of condensation or moisture, which is easily absorbed and can leave behind a hardened block. Even with its ability to last indefinitely, food storage experts say sugar is best consumed within 2 years of opening. Just another reason to mix up a batch of fresh cookies. Salt. Vegetable, animal, or mineral. Salt falls in the latter category, which is one reason it can enjoy an indefinite stay in your pantry without spoiling. Salt has been used to preserve foods, especially meats, for centuries because it's so effective at inhibiting bacteria. The mineral is able to break down enzymes that help germs grow, while also dehydrating food and removing water that bacteria needs to survive. Its ability to repel water keeps salt unlimitedly useful, though there are some kinds of processed salt that are more likely to deteriorate in quality over time, specifically those with additives such as iodine or anti-caking agents. These kinds are best used in under 5 years. As for plain salt, it can last forever, especially if kept in a cool, dry place. Honey. Humans have risked bee swarms for thousands of years in the hopes of collecting a little honey. Beyond its use in cooking, the substance has also been used for healing wounds and even as a natural preservative. Because the insect-produced food is one of the few that rarely expires. Honey's indefinite shelf life is thanks to its sugar-dense composition, with less than 20% of its makeup coming from water. The nectar also has two other preserving factors. It has an acidic pH level that is unsuitable for bacteria, and its viscous state creates an oxygen barrier that prevents pathogens from growing. However, there's a catch. To maintain these properties, honey must be stored in a sealed container safe from humid conditions. So, even then, the USDA suggests honey is at its best when consumed within a year. That brings us to the end of this episode. Hope you learned something new. Don't throw everything away in your pantry. You can keep these items longer than their best before dates. Give us a like. Head over to buymeacoffee.com/Samson King to support the channel. Make sure you subscribe, and as always, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.